Welcome to the Working Women's Channel. My name is Clara Capano, and we're going to share the real secrets to success. Come on in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Working Women Channel. And I am here with my dear friend, Suzanne Gall, who is an attorney that really fights and advocates for the rights of students in the classroom, and just an all-around cool girl. And I am here, we're going to be talking about, the idea that perfection doesn't exist, that trade-offs and pivots need to happen as we go towards our greatness and our success. So Suzanne, thank you so much for being here. I've been really wanting to have you on as a guest, so I really appreciate you taking some time today to be here with us.
Of course, I'm glad I can do it.
Yeah, so you are calling in from Portland, Oregon. So, I know the sun is just peeking its way out there today, so we want to embrace the sun in Portland as it comes out and greets us.
Portland gets a bad rap. The 3 months the sun is out, it's perfect.
Oh, good. We love hearing that. So, we are talking about women in business and life, and talking about how we face the road to success and how there's challenges. It's not always pretty. And I know that in being an attorney, building your own business, running a family, there certainly have been times in your world where you've had to redefine success. So tell me about a time that maybe was particularly challenging for you, that you sort of had to bring that idea of pivoting in.
So many to choose from. I think the first one that comes to mind is our move to Portland, Oregon. And originally we thought we'd stay in Colorado forever. After finally landing my perfect job, it was going back to a firm that I underappreciated when I was there the first time. I was really happy, and my husband had gone back to school, and it was time for him to finally launch his career. And the best job that we worked really hard and sacrificed for ended up being in Portland. So I had to decide if I was going to if we were going to stay and I could build what I finally had, or if I was going to start over in Portland. And I gave up a lot to come here, and underestimated what giving up my career would mean in the long run. And that was 11 years ago. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I thought I had it figured out. And the irony is, I'd always wanted to be a judge. And the week after we moved here, I got a call from someone saying, "Hey, we really want you to interview for this judge position." And I had to say no.
I did not know that. So, that was always one of my dreams. I wanted to be a judge as well, because, I really love telling people what to do, and that's what judges get to do. So I want to talk about this a little bit, but before we do that, I wanted to let you know that I'm still mad that you moved away from Denver, because, you and I met before we had children and became really great friends. Talk to me about some of the thought processes you went through, and some of the ways that you faced this in communicating with your husband, your kids, to, kind of come up with this decision.
Well, I mean, we had conversation after conversation before we decided to move here. And then we moved here, and then we had conversation after conversation about whether to move back. And it started as, I'll take a year off and then I'll get right back in. And then a year turned into probably 7 of me really just being a dedicated stay-at-home mom. And I resented it.
I want to just, first of all, say thank you for being so honest about the idea that you resented having to be a stay-at-home mom. Because you're an amazing mom, and I know how much you love your family. And we've had several conversations about this idea of trade-offs. And so I know that, saying that is even really hard, but I think it's important, because I think even when the women are working, sometimes we resent our jobs because it takes us away from being a mom. And when we're a stay-at-home mom, sometimes we resent. So I think it's important that we acknowledge that and own it.
Right. And I mean, as I sit here now, I cannot wait. I have the biggest career thing coming up in a month that I've ever done. I'm going to be arguing a case in front of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals at the end of August. And I dabbled in this. I did it part-time. until I met this one client and I just had to take her case. It was too compelling to turn away. And I can't wait until I can unload the dishes and do the laundry and go grocery shopping without the pressure of this case that's coming up hanging over my head. So, I mean, there's no perfect scenario, and it's something that I've really, really struggled with a lot. I know I said to you way back when, like, you can't have it all. And I really do believe that, but it's trying to figure out how to make how to make the two somehow synchronize, and the things that you give up are things you're willing to give up.
You have to make trade-offs. What were outside of, the job, what were some other trade-offs that you had to make for yourself in your life in, going forward and being, a stay-at-home mom, but also keeping everything on the path that you wanted?
I didn't want to give up my time with my kids for something that didn't matter. And what I did before felt like just money passing back and forth between people. And what I do now is about kids' lives and giving them a chance to be their best and get the most potential. And especially in Oregon, there's a lot of need for lawyers who do what I do. So that's been the good thing that's come out of me being a stay-at-home mom. The other thing was, I had some medical issues pop up in the middle, and I admire people who are holding down a job and raising a family and working at the same time, because the emotional toll of what I went through and the just being laid up in bed multiple times over a year, I couldn't have done it if I didn't have a supportive husband who was able, and that is something that's been in my court, is my husband has been able to allow me to take the time to figure out what I want to do.
Definitely. And again, whether somebody is, married or not, it's important to have that support system, those people that are around you that are going to, give you the space to think, ask you the tough questions, because I know he does push you and he wants what's best for you. He wants what's best for the family as a whole unit, but I know how much he does support you. And so I think it is really important to have that.
And on that note, while I was in the middle of this case, I had this amazing co-counsel who she was 75 years old. She had decades of experience under her belt. And she knew that she lived in Florida. She didn't know me from Adam. She didn't have to come out of retirement, but she heard about me, heard about my case, and said, I want to help you. And me reaching out and asking for help and having this amazing woman come into my life. Sadly, she ended up in the middle of litigation, getting cancer, and passed away in May. But just being charged with her energy and her knowledge level and the generosity of her time that she gave me. I mean, she was 75 years old. She wasn't any spring chicken. And she and I were pulling, all-nighters and getting ready for this case. And she made me a better lawyer. She made me a better person. And I wouldn't have had her in my life, or the other attorney that she roped into helping me once she knew she was sick. Wouldn't have had those remarkable ladies supporting me and lifting me up in an area of law that is very new to me, at a level of experience that I went from 18 months from essentially a stay-at-home mom to doing the biggest thing that attorneys can dream of. And I couldn't have done it without asking for help.
Yeah, I love it. I do want to talk about the health thing in a minute, but I want to hone in on two really big ideas that you just talked about, because I want to make sure that our listeners take these away. The first thing that I really love that you said is, looking at time as an investment, and you didn't want to invest time away from your family for something that didn't matter to you. And that really hit me when you said that. And because I think it's so important, we need to make sure that as women, that when we are, devoting it, we do our best to make sure that we're finding those things that matter for us. And if we can't quite find it in our career, again, making sure that we find that through something, whether it's volunteering, whatever it may be, but find that thing that does that, answers your heart. And then just what you said at the end, asking for help.
Well, and even just the other day, my husband he started his own business and he has a client out in like an hour and a half away. And I told him, like, honey, I can't keep saying okay when I have this major thing in my career that I'm preparing for. And if I keep saying okay and you go, it makes me feel like what I'm doing doesn't matter. And so I kept talking about it for hours afterwards, saying like, are we okay? Because I don't want to let him down. I don't want to make him mad. But I really needed to protect my time, which is not something that I usually do. You need help? Okay. I'm not sure how I'll do the 50 other things that are on my plate, but I'll help you and I'll make it 51.
It's not that we don't want to help. It's not that we want to be mean about it, but being able to make sure that people understand what we have going on as well.
Including our kids. And that's something that I've learned with a wonderful therapist. Just checking in with them and talking with them and explaining where things are and keeping that communication open, because I've missed my kids the past year plus, as I've been buried into a computer and if snapping at them if they interrupt me because I'm in a train of thought, and just afterwards debriefing with them and just saying, I'm really sorry, here's what's going on. And they know that. It's funny because my daughter's getting ready to go to getting ready for college, and we're meeting with college counselors, and her narrative has kind of become helping people with disabilities as things that she's been doing for extracurriculars. So I think they watch and they're learning and soaking it in and helping take what I'm doing as guidance on where they want their lives to go.
Yeah.
So,
and it is. And, we have to remember that the way that we show up does become a message to others, especially our children. And so really, knowing that we're sending these messages and we're, they know a lot more than we give them credit for sometimes. And, really being able to communicate with them because, the path that they take they can really open up their minds to see different things too. So fantastic. So let's talk about this health issue, because it was something that was a very big moment and a very pivotal moment. And I remember when you called me and it was on a weekend, and, it's a call that nobody wants to get and nobody wants to hear, but you went to the doctor and you found out that you had breast cancer. So talk to me a little bit about this whole journey.
Well, it's a journey that is still going on. I'm the lucky one. I had a non-aggressive kind of cancer, and they caught it early. So all I needed to do was get a double mastectomy. I didn't need chemo. I didn't need radiation. So in medical terms, I was the lucky one. But it was hard to wrap my brain around. I'm lucky, but I'm losing part of my body. And I still struggle with that. We had just started a new school with my kids, and the way they showed up to support me was incredible. My husband was very supportive, but I had to find it in me to accept what was happening and move forward and leave no stone unturned with figuring out what my options were. Unfortunately, my implants have been recalled and I'm having some complications. So fast forward 6 years and I need to have another surgery in October. But it's just one of the things that happened. And at the same time that was going on, they call us the sandwich generation. My mom had dementia, and I was trying to care for her on the other side of the country. And she ultimately ended up passing away. And so I was trying to deal with that in the middle of, my surgeries were drawn out over about a 9-month period of time. So then I throw kids on top of it. And I was lucky that I didn't have a full practice up and running and I could tend to these personal matters.
How did you, talk to your kids about this? The fact that mom's sick, because I'm sure that there was a lot of fear around that. So how did, you communicate this to them?
Well, at the time, I want to say my youngest was 3 or 4. So I mean, baby, we met her where she was and didn't go into a whole lot. Emma, my oldest, is a smart cookie, and we gave her all the facts. Any questions she had, we answered, because we didn't want her to feel like we were hiding anything from her. So we were really honest, and didn't tiptoe around it with her at all.
Whatever way we decide to do, that's going to be the best way for us. And, we can't always look to others. We can't always ask for permission. We have to find what's going to work for us and for our dynamics.
Yeah. I mean, the two myths have been dispelled that I grew up with. One is like, when you become a grown up, you pick X profession and you stay there for the next 50 years, and it's a straight line. Not true. The other one was, our first kid was like easygoing, quiet, introverted. We're like, we can do this with a second one. I learned that one mold is not different from the second one.
This is one of the reasons that I never had a second kid. Like, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
It's so true. So when you're looking at all these chapters of your life and you're looking at all the journeys that you've gone through, sitting back, reflecting, what is something that you would say you're most proud of?
It's hard being a female to not negative talk yourself. And so for every plus I'm proud of, I'm proud of this case that I've taken and what level I was able to practice the past year and a half. But I gave up a lot with my family. I'm proud of the fact that I did take the time to get my kids acclimated to the move here in Portland, and that I've been here for them, able to take them to every ballet competition or fill in the blank of extracurriculars. But while I was doing it, I really wanted to be working. And I'm proud that I am developing these kids that I don't think they'll ever wonder whether I was there for them.
Well, I just want to let you know that I am proud of you, and I've always been proud of you. You always stand up for what you believe in. You are not afraid to say, let's look at a different side of this. Let's look at an alternate solution. You always do it in a very matter of fact, but also coming from a place of love. And I think you're right. You really have stood up and said, this is what's going to be right. It doesn't matter if conventionally it's not right. It doesn't matter if it's going to upset other people. You have, really worked together with your husband to say, this is going to be what's right for us. And that's something that I've really admired about the both of you. So you've been a really good role model for me in that area as well.
Thank you. I remember I used to work for insurance companies, and there was a case that, as clear as day, this person needed a medical procedure. And I realized from that moment forward, there was a sleep test that I needed to have. And if I couldn't sleep at night based on the choices I was making, it wasn't something that I was willing to do.
And oh my God, that was a huge moment. And I don't know if our viewers caught that, a sleep test. I think that was a really great idea, is to just really, do some reflection. If I do this, am I going to be able to sleep at night? That is awesome. So I'm going to start incorporating that, but I think that's a really great pulse point. So thanks for sharing that. So, we're still moving forward. Your journey, your chapters, your life is nowhere near being over. So if you could pinpoint it, what do you think is next for Suze?
To be honest, I'm pivoting away from what I'm doing now, whether it's a permanent pivot. I don't know, but we are buying an investment property, and my husband has his own business. And I'm really looking at stepping back from the intensity of law and helping him with his business, working on this investment property, because I have a 16-year-old who's going to be gone in 2 years. You don't get that time back. I don't ever want to say that I wasn't there for my kids. And before I know it, she's going to be gone. And I always thought, like, I came home over the summers, but the way kids are now, like, they leave and she may not come back. So I want to soak up every minute with her, even if she doesn't want me around. I'll be in the background.
I know.
And my
And
other
just so you
daughter,
know, it's about 682 days, just in case you're wondering.
thanks for that, Clara. And then my youngest, who just turned 13 yesterday, I'm going to be in the same boat once my other daughter leaves. And you only get a certain amount of time with these kids. And I don't want to regret not being there for them. And I know if I put all my focus on my career, I can't be. So this way, if I pivot, I can still help and be productive, use my brain, make a little bit of money, and get to spend as much time as my kids will let me.
Right, exactly. It's so true. And I also think that it's important to put on what's next list is a Duran Duran concert with me, because you're my Duran buddy, and we got to go see our boys.
Of course. Life is not complete without Duran Duran.
It is not complete without Duran
Although
Duran.
I am a bigger fan of their old stuff and not as much their new stuff. But
well, when I sit down with John Taylor later, we can discuss that, and I'll see what I can do. So
okay.
I know as some people watch this, people are going to want to reach out to you. They might want to reach out to you on a business front. They may want to reach out to you and hear a little bit more about your story. So what is the best way for any of our viewers to reach out and connect with you?
Probably my email address, which is Suz, S-U-Z, at educationlawpdx.com. Yeah, and there's a lot of us have a lot on our shoulders, and I'm happy to provide support however I can.
Beautiful. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. You are just one of the strongest and most beautiful people I know. You've been one of my dear friends, and I miss you so much, and not being able to hang out all the time. We've had so many great memories, and I am just really excited to see your next chapter of what you put together. And I just really want to just tell you how grateful I am to have you in my life.
Well, thank you. It goes both ways.
So thank you for watching today's episode. Again, we covered the idea of making trade-offs. We covered the idea of asking for help, and knowing when to pivot on your path to success. So remember, you can watch this episode and all episodes of the Working Women channel, as well as getting all of your clarity at my website, www.claracapano.com.